Hello, Curious! Elizabeth II has been a huge horse lover all of her life, and even now when she's only a few years to 100 years old, she can still be seen on the saddle, and some even say that this form of leisure is one of the secrets of the British monarchy's longevity. The Queen is not only passionate about horse riding, but also is an avid breeder and owner of racing horses, and during her over 70-year reign, she became the owner of hundreds of these beautiful animals, which additionally were quite successful during equestrian competitions. And what were the most spectacular victories of Elizabeth II horses, and how much did the Queen earn thanks to them? And when did her adventure with equestrianism begin, and which member of the royal family was the first to compete in this field at the Olympics? Can the Queen still be seen on the saddle despite her old age? Well, as you will see in a moment, the love of the British Queen for horses is greater than anyone could imagine. But before we tell you more about it, we would be glad if you didn't forget to click the subscription button and click on the bell button and leave a thumbs up under our episode. Elizabeth II's racing advisor once said, and we quote, "The greatest asset you might have with horses is patience, which the Queen is lucky to the brim. It is also quite remarkable that monarchs, as a huge fan of the racings, are able to judge and run just by listening just to the sound of their hooves when they hit the ground." But speaking of her love of horse riding, let's start with this. How did her greatest passion begin, and when did she first sit on a horse's back? It was exactly 92 years ago when Her Majesty had first had a riding lesson when she was only 3 years old, and then on her 4th birthday, she got her first horse as a gift from her grandfather, King George V. And this unique gift was a Shetland pony, gracefully named Peggy, on which the future Queen rode on her own at the age of 6. Starting with her adventure with horses so early, no wonder that as an adult woman, she was already an excellent rider. And she made her debut in the saddle in front of the public in 1947, participating in the Trooping in the Color ceremony organized on the occasion of the reigning ruler's birthday. Just a few years later, she became the owner of a breeding and racing herd, which she inherited from her deceased father, King George VI. And thanks to her, over the years, the stables turned into a real breeding grounds for the thoroughbred horses and future champions. The Queen closely monitors their breeding progress at the Royal Stud, the Hampton Court, the Polehampton in Berkshire, and the studs at Sandringham, and of course the Wolverton in Norfolk. Coming back to the horses of Elizabeth II, it turns out that her hobby is also very profitable. The Queen does not stop at passive washing the horses, but also very willingly exhibits her own horses at competitions. And from the 1980s until now, her mounts have taken part in almost 3,000 races and have won the main prize several hundred times. What, however, were the most memorable ones? Well, the Queen's first grand champion was Carosa, who was the first to reach the finish line during the Epsom Oaks race in 1957. The win secured the Queen the title and the Champion Owner Cup, the owner of those horses who won the highest cash prize in the season, and it's worth noting that Elizabeth II is the first monarch in history to win this award twice. The second opportunity for this appeared in 1958 when a royal horse named Pall Mall won the Guinea 2000 competition. A memorable champion of Her Majesty was also Highclere, who in 1974 took first place in the 1000 Guineas race, taking place at the track in the Newmarket. But perhaps the most successful horse of the Queen was Dunfermline, who during his racing career in just one season won 2 championships, one at Epsom Oaks and the other at St. Leger. In Great Britain, the most prestigious equestrian event at the Ascot Gold Cup, which of course cannot miss the Queen and her horses every year, and it is said that the racing is one of the most important events of the Queen that she puts on her calendar at the beginning of each year, so that nothing else clashes at the same time. This event was the most memorable for the Queen in 2013 when her horse, Estimate, won the race, and it was a historic moment as the cup was handed over to the reigning monarch for the first time in the 2004-year tradition of the race. The Queen herself did not hide her excitement about this fact, and in the interview after the race, she said that it gave her great pleasure. Of course, all these wins are not the only cups and titles, but also the cash prizes. It's estimated that the monarch over the years, thanks to racing, earned more than £6.7 million, or almost $10 million. And one of the most profitable years was in 2016, when her horses won prizes totaling almost £600,000. Elizabeth II currently ranks 11th on the list of the most successful racehorse owners on the world. As we mentioned, Her Majesty loves to look after her farms and visit studs, where today there are about 100 horses owned by the monarch. The best specialists are employed to breed and train them, but the Queen herself is also very knowledgeable in this subject, and even in every morning she finds a moment to read Racing Post, her favorite newspaper on racehorses. And by the way, in one of our earlier episodes titled "What Does Elizabeth II Fancy and What Do They Eat or Not Eat as Royals?", you can learn much more about that daily routine of the British royal queen and learn about her often surprising habits. And you can do so by clicking on the link that's being displayed on your screen now. Sitting in the saddle, even now when she's a few years from 100 years old, also remains one of her favorite hobbies. The queen, who has ridden different horses all of her life, in recent times goes on pony rides much more often because, as she pointed out, they are here and we quote, closer to the ground. Elizabeth II also breeds them, and because she's a supporter of native British pony breeds, you can see by the Shetland ponies and very rare Fell and Highland species in her stables. And interestingly enough, riding them is, according to her experts, one of the queen's ways to stay fit and healthy, as well as the secret of her strength and vigor even in old age. And if you want to find out what else Queen Elizabeth II is doing to hold on so well, be sure to check out our next episode recommended by us, Queen Elizabeth II, What is the Secret of the Monarch's Longevity? And due to her lifetime contribution to horse breeding and her significant role in the equestrian sports world, for the first time in the history of the British monarchy, she was awarded with the FEI Lifetime Achievement Award. And she's also a patron of the Highland Pony Society, and the winner of awards such as the Royal Windsor Show, which is one of the largest horse shows in the world. Her passion also became the passion of other members of the royal family, and more precisely the Queen's daughter, Princess Anna, and her granddaughter Zara Tyndall, followed in the footsteps of the monarch, and Anna was the first person from the Windsor family to take part in the Olympics in 1976. And although she did not win a medal there, she won no less significant awards at the European Equestrian Championships. The Queen's granddaughter, on the other hand, is the holder of a silver Olympic medal, as well as gold and silver medals from the European Championships and the World Equestrian Games. And this is where we will end our journey into the world of these royal studs. And so curious, did you know that Elizabeth and her relatives achieved such great successes in the equestrian sports? Or maybe you are also passionate about horses. So please be sure to leave a comment below and don't forget to click on the subscription button and leave a thumbs up. And we shall see you guys next time.